Hello, friends. Last month, I did a reading out of my newest book, Elizabeth's Journey. And this month, I thought I'd try something different and talk about the books that I've been reading or have read over the last years or so, some years. It's said that a writer that doesn't have time to read doesn't have time to write. I don't know if that's true, but writing and reading, or reading for a writer, is an important thing. As a writer, as a storyteller, you pick up parts of someone else's work and you kind of evaluate them in your head. And sometimes you wonder if they're good or not. Okay, change the light here. I got a little glare on my glasses. I'm sorry. But anyway, so I thought I would talk about some of the books that I have read in the last couple of years. And I started reading by chance, because it was highly recommended, A Man Called Ove from Fredrik Backman. Now, this is one of his later books. It's called My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry. I have read about 5 or 6. I've got his newest book on my table to read, Anxious People. But this is my favorite so far. A Man Called Ove is an amazing book. But this book, My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You I'm Sorry, is my favorite so far. And of course, this is fiction. But what's interesting also is Fredrik is not an American. He's a Swede. And so some of my authors that I have been reading are from across the sea. And some are not. But when I'm talking about across the sea, and this isn't even a fiction, this is a memoir. And it's called I Am Malala. This young lady is a Nobel Peace Prize winner. And she's talks about the discrimination against girls and women in her country and how things were so difficult and how she has fought for their education, because she believes, and I agree with her, that education is the key to improving everything in this world. And we highly recommend this book. A very well written, amazing young woman's story. I'm talking about non-fictions. Jackie received this book for Christmas, I think. Jenna Bush Hager's book, Everything Beautiful in Its Time. Again, these are clips or snippets into the Bush family's life, whether or not you're politically inclined to appreciate the Bushes in any way or in every way. You see her on television, Jenna's on television, and all the rest, and she talks about how she got that position. This is really, well, the subtitle is Seasons of Love and Loss. It's really a heartfelt story about her grandparents, the senior Bushes, H.W. and Barbara. And it was a kind of book that grabs you by the heart and drags you along. This isn't an emotional read. Let's move along here. I was trying to keep it to 10 minutes, and I've got more books than I'm going to cover in 10 minutes, so you'll have to apologize. On my second author's event, my second book signing was in Napanee. at a Christian bookstore. And the following week, they had Beverly Lewis and her tour bus come to that same bookstore. And I wanted to see how the pros did it. Yeah. Anyway, so I met Mrs. Beverly Lewis and found her to be a remarkably humble, kind lady. And she even signed this book for me. Isn't that wonderful? And she has very nice handwriting. And she signed this book for me, and so it's actually the first of her books that I have read, and I've read several since. So yes, I am a Beverly Lewis fan. Have you heard of this book, The Hallows? It's by Jess Montgomery, and I have to look at it because I know the lady that wrote this book, and this is her pen name, and she goes by another name when she signs her checks, if she still signs checks, like I do. But I haven't read The Widows yet. I've read, or the Hallows yet, pardon me. I have read The Widows, the book ahead of this. And yes, so you see, I actually know an author that has been published. This person, I had worked with her or met her at a author's event, writer's workshop, a writer's workshop in Ohio. This is totally unscripted, so if I go off on a tangent, forgive me, please. But yes, I'm eager to read that. All right. All the Light We Cannot See, Anthony Doerr. I don't know where Anthony's from. This is a Pulitzer Prize book. And I've started to read another Pulitzer Prize book and gave up, but I could not give up on this book. It's a World War II story, Europe. And they're quite popular right now, World War II stories. But this one's a little different. It is a deeply moving, extremely informative. I consider this one of my absolute favorite books. And it's a big book, you see. Sometimes books get long. Yes, but yes. And in the light of, in All the Light We Cannot See is a fantastic volume. I don't have a copy of it here because it's on my e-reader, and I have just finished The Kite Runner. And I can't tell you off the top of my head who the author is. It's a bloody shame I should even mention it. Tremendously powerful book. There are books that entertain. There are books that teach. And there's books that are emotional. And there are books that change who you are. And The Kite Runner does that. If you haven't read The Kite Runner, you should. Running close to my time. My new absolute favorite author, Lisa Wingate. This is The Prayer Box, which is, Lisa Wingate ends up being our read out loud book in our house, and Sundays we'll read a couple chapters. At the present time, we're reading the Book of Lost Friends. But of the, I think 6 books of Lisa Wingate I have read, this is my favorite. It is an amazing, amazing story, and it's told in the way only Lisa Wingate can tell it. Amazing book. A dear friend of mine wrote this little book, and it is a satiric book about her adventures at trying to get her grass mowed. Lisa. Lisa Head is why I forgot her name. I can't forgive me. I'm 69. I'm allowed to forget them. I'm even allowed to forget my friend's name from time to time. Lisa's book it's just a joy. It's small, it's short, but it is absolutely a joy. And I can't leave until I also mention A Million Times Good Night. This is written by my editor, Christina McBride. And Christina has helped me with my writing very much, and I'm very pleased to call her a friend. And so this is a book written by a friend, and I have other books that are written by friends. But what is interesting about this book, and I've read another book from hers, and I like this one a little better. The other one's fine, but I like this one better, is that there is parallel plot lines that go through the entire story of how events could happen one way or another, depending upon the one choice that is made. And so I found that extremely interesting and a very different idea than I haven't read before. So I love Christina's book, A Million Times Good Night. Now I've used up 11 minutes and a half, which is I try to hold it around 10 to 12. All right, so we're right there. So anyway, I'm going to let you go today. And I hope that you found this entertaining to some extent, I would hope. And take care of yourselves and read. God bless.